Welcome to the show. I am speaking with Alexandros Mantas from the band, the duo Residuos Mentales, who are a progressive rock type of act. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much for inviting us. It's truly an honor for us to introduce our band to you, to the listeners, and we would like also to thank you for all these wonderful playlists we have been included into.
I always start with the same question to everybody. So, how did you get into music and what made you want to pick up the guitar and start learning?
It started, as it goes with most people, at a young age, listening to music, and some songs attracted my interest a little bit more. And a friend of mine had bought a guitar, and I used to ask him, "Can I borrow it for a while, for a couple of days?" And then I decided to do my best, and told my parents, and bought me the guitar, and took it from there gradually, and learning to play the basics. So it was the music I was listening to that made me want to become part of this.
What were you listening to? How old were you?
It was mostly influences from my brother. My brother is 4 years older, and he used to bring home music like it was Guns N' Roses back then. It was Alice Cooper. What else? It was Skid Row. I'm trying to remember the albums. It was vinyls that he used to bring home, and I would play them. And it was a totally new world from me. All these bands that now seem to be stone cold classics. It was Metallica, of course. What else? AC/DC. I think, yes, that was the stuff I first listened to. Before that, it was all the stuff my mother used to play in the house, and it was obviously Greek music.
Yeah, yeah.
But that was my first introduction to rock music, and
And
everything else came later.
as well as playing the guitar, you also play the flute. Do you
Yeah.
play any other instruments other than the flute? And what was first? What was the flute first, or was the guitar first?
No, for the guitar first, of course. And at some age, I decided, obviously influenced by Andy Latimer from Camel. Oh, no, no. In fact, I was thinking, I wanted to learn another instrument, and I was thinking the flute or the saxophone. And I went to a Psychotic Waltz gig, and it was Devon Graves who was playing his flute. And I said, okay, I decided I will play the flute too. But of course, before that, I was influenced by the great Andy Latimer, who is my favorite guitarist, artist, and Camel is my favorite band.
Fair enough. We'll get to that. I will ask you about that a little bit later. Um, and we said Residuos Mentales is the name of the band that you were playing with and that you were recording with. How did this
Mhm.
project come together?
Yes. Uh, Stratos and I are friends since we were in the economic school, in the university. And we used to play, we had a cover band back then with some other friends too. Then life took us apart for some years. And I think it was to 2012 when we got back together and we started playing these cover songs once again at his house. And one day he just told me, look, I have this theme. He played me something. I have this riff. What do you think of it? And I said, oh, sounds very good. And he asked me, okay, and then, and that was the question that changed, was the game changer. And then, so I played something, and I told him, do you like it? Okay, let's develop the whole thing. That was the birth for Residuos Mentales. It was this day that Stratos said, don't play these cover songs today. Let's do this. Let's develop this riff.
Okay, so it was all his fault.
Yes, it was definitely his fault. It was his. All I wanted to do. It was him and me and my brother playing bass and just kill time and enjoy ourselves. That was all I had in mind back then. But you never know what life has for you.
Very true, very true. Um, I was trying to find what other bands you may have played with or you may have recorded with before Residuos Mentales, and I could not find anything. So, is Residuos Mentales the first?
Yes, the first and the only. It's all my energy is channeled into it. I mean, all of my free time, everything I have, I put it into them. Like I said, the only band I ever played in was this band with Stratos. I think it was called Fragile Symmetry, I think, and it was the band that we were playing some cover songs.
Okay.
So yes, for me that's the only band. Stratos plays also in another Greek band, Verbal Delirium.
Yep.
So he's more he has his hands full.
2018 is the year that you released the first album from Residuos Mentales. Now, 2018 is quite late. Before then, you never tried recording at all?
No, it was not in my plans. It was really not in my plans. Yes, it was something that happened at a very late stage of my life, and I, sometimes I truly wish that things had turned out differently. But that's the way things went down. It just happened at a very late stage of my life. All this thing about producing, writing, and I see that when I go to the studio, I don't. I am as good as some other people who record and do this job, let's say, since their earlier age. But I'm okay with it.
In Greece and in Europe, there's a big love for prog rock, more than Australia, I think. And it seems to me like the introduction of prog rock music comes from brothers, sisters, cousins, and that kind of thing. So, how did you discover prog rock music?
Okay. In my case, it was Stratos actually who introduced me into prog music. It was my brother, of course, who bought uh, some. It was a Kansas album. It was In the Spirit of Things, actually, not their earlier stuff. And of course, one day he had brought Best of Camel, which initially I did like much, actually, because I was more of a heavy metal and hard rock guy. So it took me some time to get acquainted with this type of music. So I had a couple of bands in my mind, and then it was Stratos who was more into progressive stuff. So we were listening to music, and he used to tell me, "Oh, listen to this, and listen to that, and listen to this, and listen to that." So my progressive vocabulary was beginning to expand, and of course, then other people came in my way, like Jargon from Verbal Delirium, who also introduced me to a lot of bands. So it kind of snowballed after that. So yes, it was my brother who brought me the first records, prog records, and then it was Stratos who showed me the way to the prog sphere in general.
Very cool. Um, and yes, many of the reviews that I have read for your music say that they can hear the influence from Camel, from Pink
Yes,
Floyd, yeah,
yes,
from King Crimson coming through.
yes.
Yeah. And I agree with all of them. You can hear those influences in your music. But yeah, tell us some of the influences that maybe would surprise people.
Most of my records are heavy metal and the hard rock ones because that was when where I started. I think that some people could hear the Greek influences, the Greek sound in our music. It seems that it's somehow embedded
Mm.
in our DNA. Actually, Stratos, there are many times when we are stuck somewhere and we can't go any further. And he says, okay, just a moment. And we listen to Hadzidakis, if you
Mhm.
remember him, Anos Hadzidakis. He's great influence, the great artist he was. So, yes, we are the people that we are not only into prog rock, also in metal, in rock, the Greek. Stratos also likes jazz music a lot and electronic music.
Mhm.
Uh, so each time uh, a heavier dose will end up in an album, and sometimes a heavier dose to the other album. It depends on our mood.
When I listen to your music, as well as hearing the influences from the bands that we mentioned, like Camel, like Pink Floyd, like King Crimson, when I listen to it, I also hear the music as a soundtrack to a computer game. So, how much of an influence is game music for both of you and Stratos?
Game music. Truth be told, I I don't. I have no idea about game music. I don't play any computer games, or I don't know how game music is like. But the soundtrack music, it's I don't know if the game music is like soundtrack, but if it is, then yes, especially the first album
Yes.
uh, is quite soundtrackish
Yep.
music, and some of the songs that will come that will be on our third album.
Hmm.
Uh, I have no references, direct references to game music, but soundtrack music, it's quite beloved and very heavy, especially on the first album.
Yeah.
Maybe because it's central idea, maybe.
Yeah. Well,
But no,
it's
game.
yeah. Well, similar sort of thing. When I say game music, I'm not talking Mario Brothers. I'm talking things like yeah, uh, epic kind of movie
Yes,
soundtracks.
in that vein, yes, it is. There is an affinity. There is a relationship, I would say.
Fair enough. Yes. Now, Residuos Mentales was formed as a studio project, from what I can see, which is very interesting because when people are forming a band, they form the band so they can play live. So when you and Stratos formed Residuos Mentales, did you ever think about playing this music that you were writing live, or was it always going to be studio only?
I don't quite remember. I do remember that we were thinking, okay, we will write the music and we will find the members. What we think is this: if you have, if you are to play live, then you need to do, proper tours. You have to do it in a way that it will yield the results. If you one gig a year or two, then it's not of much help. So first is this. Secondly, our schedule is quite heavy this time of our lives. Stratos has already one band, and I don't. We don't think that we can make it work right now.
Mm.
Okay, as I said, we never had in mind to ever record or ever write music,
Mhm.
and eventually this is what happened. So you don't know exactly what the future holds, but right now it's not in our plans
Understand.
right now. So probably we will remain as a studio project, which of course gives us the possibility to develop the music the way we want without thinking how can we play this live now.
Fair
We
enough.
can be as creative as we want.
Fair enough.
So there are obviously some plus and some minuses here.
Okay, I'm guessing you have friends who are also musicians who play live. Have you ever thought
Exactly.
of just going up and playing a song with them somewhere or anything along those lines, or it's not something that interests you?
I had this impulse, this craving, this desire earlier, at the earlier years of my life. It has subsided. It has taken a backseat, to tell you the truth, couple of the last couple of years.
Fair enough.
No, it doesn't bother me that much.
The first album from Residuos Mentales, there's two albums in total so far. The first album,
Uh-huh.
Introspection, was released in 2018 and is a series of mostly short pieces which you say tells the story of a man who is tortured by memories of the past. So it's basically a concept album. How did the
Okay.
idea for the story come? And were you writing the music to fit the story? Or did you write the music and then write the story? Or was it a mix?
Okay. I will tell you exactly how things happen. To tell you the truth, Introspection is our third album. What do I mean by the third album? Uh, I started with Stratos composing music since 2012. So we were writing music until we had two albums ready. So when the second album was completed, I told him, look, mate, I would like to make an album like Camel's Snow Goose. I wanted it to be with shorter songs and themes intervening each other's coming back. And I had this concept in my mind that it would be called Feelings, the album, where each song would represent a feeling, and there would be all of them negative ones, except one song that it will be the positive one. And in the end, all the feelings would mix, let's say, except the positive one. It was a dark period of my life, yes, as you can understand. So Stratos said, "Oh yes, yes, I am. I'm in." So we started pulling ideas together. So when we reached the fifth song, which is My Stories, and we were in the studio, our producer had the idea. Look, guys, for starters, this song, our producer had the idea to put some voices in there, some voices saying nothing in particular, just you could hear a voice. So he proposed us, he suggested that you could use lines from a movie. So I started looking at my list because I keep in a list the movies I have seen.
Mm-hmm.
Which movie could fit in the concept? And I have seen a movie called The Words, and I said, "Oh, this is what it could be." So we find the lines that actually fit it in there, and the whole concept changed almost completely. Uh, we changed the idea of the feelings, and we went to memories because we are our memories. If we give it some thought, our memories is a great part of who and what we are. So yes, it was kind of both. We had the idea in mind, but as things progressed, we changed tracks.
Okay.
But the core of the concept remained intact, I think.
Okay. So Words is the movie you said.
Yes, yes, the words with Jeremy Irons.
Okay, I have
It's a
not
great.
seen this movie. I will have to track it down and
Yes,
watch it. The music on Introspection is very orchestrated and sounds like it has been written by someone who is more than just a self-taught rock guitarist. So, would I be correct to say that you have studied music, and what did you study, if I am correct?
no, no, I haven't actually. Uh, okay, I know some basics, of course, but let's say things work like that. I come up with an idea, and I go to Stratos and I tell him, okay, do you like what? Do you like this? Do you like that? So if he likes it, if he we start then working on it, and he has the knowledge, to orchestrate it, to do whatever it takes, and then it
And the
comes.
idea.
Yes, yes, and then we go to the studio where it is Vangelis and Dimitris who also offer, a second, another angle how we could do things. So it's actually four people who brainstorm an idea, and sometimes it's completely unrecognizable
Okay.
from what it started. It's one of the best things uh, I have ever experienced. Just a stupid, let's say, theme, a stupid riff, sometimes can turn something into something very pompous or whatever, and you say, "Wow, how did this happen?" And it's because four people, uh, each in his own department, offers what the song needs.
Okay. I was going to ask this question a little bit later, but I'll ask it now since you mentioned, yeah, bringing the ideas to Stratos and the producer. So, yeah, when writing the music, yeah, what is your process? Do you usually bring just an idea to Stratos and say, this is my idea? Or do
Uh,
you write songs? How do you write music yourself?
Yes, once I had written a song almost in its entirety. So as we started recording it, I go back the next week, and Stratos has taken it and taken it to a completely different direction. So I figured out that yes, things work like that. Uh, what is like that? Like that is one step at a time. We have we have an idea. It may be mine or Stratos. It's one of the two. So we take it to the next step, the next step, the next step. And the question is, if we were listening it to if this song was coming on the radio, would we like to listen what is going on next, what is coming next, or it would get us bored and change the station? That's the mindset. So it's step by step and little by little. It's never uh, entire songs. None of us has ever come with the complete song. It's teamwork, and even the songs that we complete together when we go to the studio are changing. Yes, it's not. How can I say it? Like some people who have the song in their mind ready. We don't work like that. And actually, I like it because if there is one composer, music is bound uh, to be in certain modes, if it's correct what I'm saying. But when two people are developing an idea, you don't know where exactly it will go. It's I think it's more creative. It gives the music more opportunities, more
Mm.
possible directions.
Album number two is called A Temporary State of Bliss, and it was released in 2023. So 5 years after the first album. Now, I know the music you are writing is not 12 bar blues and is much more complicated than that. But 5 years is still a long time. Why did it take 5 years? And tell us what went into creating the second album, A Temporary State of Bliss.
The second album actually pre-existed the first album. The songs
Okay.
were already written. So for as regards the second album, we had to pick from the existing ones which songs we thought would fit in better, which songs would flow together in a more more satisfactory, in a more in a
Yeah.
better way.
Yep.
So we thought that these four songs uh, would be interesting if they were included in one album in this order. So when we went to back to the studio, we ended recording introspection in August of 2018, and we started the second album, which is previous to introspection, in November of 2018. And we thought that in 2 years things would be the album would be ready and ready for release. But the songs were more demanding, and it was also when the pandemic uh, kicked in, and so all the recording sessions were suspended for I think it was 1.5 years or two. I don't remember exactly because we couldn't go to the studio and go on with the process. And when we went actually back in the studio, we didn't like what we had done some years ago. So we remixed the album, we remixed the drums, we almost did everything again from the beginning.
Wow.
So that's why it took us such a long time. Uh, Actually, it was a blessing in disguise that we took, these years off the studio because we saw it in a completely different light. And thank God that we didn't release it at the time because we would have regretted now. The sound is much better, and the whole and the arrangements are much better. Uh, Generally, since we are not professionals and there isn't a need to release an album each every 2 years or three, we take the time we want to until our conscience gives us the green light, and okay, it's okay to release it.
When you were writing music and recording music, I imagine it's always difficult to kind of say, okay, we are now finished. You always want to change things, I think. I think,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
So how do you stop yourself from kind of saying, from always wanting to change things, and how do you say to yourself, okay, this is now finished?
This is our producer's job
Uh-huh.
because yes, when I do remember when we were done with it, I told them, okay, guys, do you want us to take a couple of weeks off and come back and have a final review? And Vangelis told me, Alex, this is it. No matter how you listen to your music, you will always find something that it may be better because you are changing as a man. This is what you are now, and in some years maybe you won't like it, or maybe you will like it even more. It is what it is, and you go on from here. So this is what I did. Yes, I feel I am always insecure if something could be better. And to tell you the truth, uh, when an album is ready, I can't listen to it for for a bit, for some time.
Mm.
Now I can listen to it and enjoy it. But while in the creating process, I always think that it lacks something.
Temporary State of Bliss, the second album, is different from the Introspection album, your first album. Yeah, we said it's 4 songs in total. Yeah, and only one of them goes for less than 10 minutes. There's a lot more heavier guitar work on there as well. Was this something that you did on purpose, or is this just the songs that you had?
No, I don't know how people can write can do something on purpose. No, it was like I said, these songs pre-existed introspection, and at the time we were more into proggier stuff, and we were in the mindset that a song would be more interesting if we do this, if we add this. Uh, so these earlier songs are quite different because it was our groove at the time. We didn't. We never say, okay, we will do a 10 or 5 or 15-minute song long. As the song develops, you know where you feel when you have to start, or it takes something else to be completed. So yes, there are in this album there are 3 songs that go over 10 minutes long, because that was what we were feeling like when these songs were developing. If we stop the process at the on the 50th minute or the 6th, something would be missing. I can't imagine either the Stuff of Dreams or series of self-correcting errors be half as long. It would be half-baked songs. They would be half-baked songs. On the contrary, missing part, it doesn't need 1 second to be longer. So no, there is nothing on purpose. And I can't do this. I can't. I can do, okay, I am going to write a 20-minute song, I am going to write a 30-minute song, or it is what it is. You just let the creative juices flow, and the song knows where it has to end or not.
Understand. Okay. So, as well as yourself and Stratos, you also do use some other musicians on
Mm-hmm.
the 2 albums, and the new album, the Temporary State of Bliss, seems to be more like a band. You've got a second guitar player, you've got drums. Um, yeah, was again, were you thinking more for a band when you were writing this music?
When these songs were written, actually, as I said, introspection, it was uh, we wanted it to be more acoustic. Actually, we wanted it to be completely acoustic,
Interesting.
but things didn't turn out exactly like that. We added drums on 3 songs and some electronic parts and some electric guitar. Although our initial goal was to be completely acoustic. So that's why I say you never know how things will go. You just have a central idea, but you don't have to be dogmatic on something. Music needs what it needs, and you will see it while things are progressing. So when it comes to temporary state of bliss, uh, these songs were more in the prog vein, more complex. We were thinking of drums, of course. Uh, so we took the demos to the studio, and our producer said, okay, we should add guitars here, or a part here, a part there, and stuff like that. So the correct people, the drummer is a friend of ours. When it comes to other instruments, we just ask the guys there if you know any trumpetist or saxophonist, because the parts are written already. We know that on this part we want the saxophone, on this part we want the trumpet. That was already done. We knew what we wanted to sound here on these specific parts. So we bring in musicians until we get the right take and the right feeling, because especially on a series of self-correcting errors, we did a session with a guy, but his parts were not quite as good, so we brought in a second a guy who did the job perfectly, and we kept it like this. So yes, it's 2 people, and then the other musicians who add to this construction.
Okay, so you're kind of writing the music and then trying to find the people that will play it.
Exactly. Yes. We want okay. We want saxophone here. We want a flute here. We want anything, and we call a session of musicians.
And your producer or producers. You worked with
Yes.
Vangelis Spanakakis for the first album, Dimitris Radis for the second
Exactly.
album. What made you choose these people? Especially, I was looking at Vangelis' work, and I can't see that he's worked with any rock
Exactly.
bands before.
Exactly. Your research is perfect. Yes. Now, how did we get to know these guys? As I said, it was never our intention to go into a studio and write. Our intention was to, write music in our home and just enjoy the whole process. So we decided to take lessons, cue-based lessons, and do the process ourselves. So we went there, we took our lessons, we went in the Stratos house to carry on with the procedure. But it was Stratos who said, okay, I think that these songs, introspection it was back then, deserve something more. So perhaps we should go to professionals, which initially I wasn't quite taken with the idea. But I finally came around to his point of view and I said, okay, let's do it. So that's how we got to know them. And yes, they haven't done similar production. It was their first one. And perhaps this is also a factor why it has taken so long. But they have given us so many ideas and such different approaches. We have never regret for our decisions, and we can't even imagine working with other people, even though they may be more in the prog stuff. This is our team, and we go on like that. So yes, even though they were not, uh, let's say, the quite appropriate guys, the team is clicking.
And yeah, the songwriting process, yeah, we've talked about it already
Mhm.
in terms of you bringing small ideas and developing the
Exactly.
ideas. Uh, but also, what happens when, because there's always going to be times when you do not agree with each other.
Yes, many.
So when somebody says, I think it goes like this, and you say, no, I don't hear that like that. How do you resolve which direction to take?
We vote. That's and yes, so there are many times I want this and I want that. So what do? It's four of us, and hopefully the votes will not be 2 against 2. Usually they're 3 against 1, and I have been outvoted many times. But yes, it is what it is. Let's say on impending catastrophe, we had two different drum approaches. Uh, I wanted the initial one to go into the song, but all the others want the version that you hear recorded. So yes, this is what happens. We vote.
If it is two votes and two votes, who do you go to say, resolve this for us?
It has never happened, but if it happens, I think that okay, Stratos has a better feeling where the music should go. And okay, unless I am very sure that I want to hear a song in a specific way, I won't argue that much. It has happened only once or twice that, okay, I want this to be like this, period. So usually I will allow Stratos to take control on this department. But it has never happened so far.
Okay.
It will. We have never reached, a dead end. We don't know how to do.
Okay. Nice. Um, both of your albums run for roughly 40 minutes, 45 minutes, which when I see a running time of 40 minutes, 45 minutes, I automatically think a vinyl record. Yeah? Tell us.
You're dead right. It was exactly what we were thinking. That we still harbor ambitions that one day we will make it to release our albums on vinyl too. And actually, we had Selling England by the Pound by Genesis, and we were adding up, the song durations. And we said, okay, this is side A and this is side B. So we mustn't exceed these, you know, total running times. It was Genesis Selling England by the Pound. Uh, your impression is right. And uh, I don't know when and if, but you may rest assured that no matter how many years will come and go, I will always try to find a way to release this on vinyl format because it's quite expensive right now.
Yeah.
Uh, but I don't know. I have a feeling that one day we'll make it. I don't know how, but it's
I
just
think so
a
too. I
chance.
think so too. There's many independent companies that you can try to go to that yeah, I
With the
think would
cover
be
in mind.
happy
Yes.
to release your music on vinyl. Prog rock, progressive music is not mainstream. So
Yes, it is.
how easy is it to get your music noticed outside of the prog rock scene?
Outside the prog rock scene, it's almost impossible. Okay, we are not, we don't play live, so it's a minus. But aside that, uh, okay, you have to put in a lot of work trying to find sites, radio stations, and it takes a lot of time. And most musicians don't want to do this. It's a difficult process and time consuming, uh, but it's part of the process. It's they are all tentacles of the same octopus. It's not one tentacle. Yes, writing music. Another tentacle uh, is producing, and another one is promoting, and another one is answering the emails and all this stuff. Uh, so yes, it's not it's not music that there are many potential listeners. Okay, but it's not. It's a genre that there are quite many fans. Let's
Yeah,
say, okay, which are the pioneers? Riverside, and Riverside have many listeners. So there is a potential audience. Now, all you have to do is try to reach these uh, sites and stations, and hopefully one day the listeners will get hold of you. Okay, it's difficult, but nothing is easy in this life. You just
very
have to
true.
try.
Nothing is
That's
easy,
all.
but nothing is impossible either.
Exactly. I think actually, if when we were uh, sending demos uh, to labels, uh, most of the answers were kind. It's an interesting album or a very good album, but it's hard to sell instrumental music.
Hmm.
That was, a standard answer.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, and in fact, this label we are now, OOB Records, initially they didn't want to release the music on physical format. They said, okay, just go for digital. But it's our perspective that music should exist on a physical format. And we said no, we will press 100 copies, and hopefully one day most of them will cover part of the cost. So when our label told us that we should go for digital only, we said no, we will press 100 copies because we believe that music should exist also on physical format. And it was our surprise, their surprise, everyone's surprise that the 100 copies we pressed were sold within a month. We couldn't believe it. None of us could believe it.
Nice work.
And we did a repress. I actually remember that people were telling us if you don't play live, you won't sell anything because people do buy only when they attend the gigs.
Yeah.
But we did it our way, and it turned out to be right. So, in other words, it's what you just said, that it's difficult, but nothing is impossible.
Residuos Mentales, Spanish for mental residuals. Tell us how you came up with this name and what made you use Spanish to name the band.
You said before that we can blame Stratos for starting the band. Okay. We can blame Stratos for this one too.
Fair enough.
We were brainstorming. Okay, here we are. Let's find a name about us. And Stratos was on vacation, and I get a call, and he tells me, "Okay, I found it. It's Residuos Mentales." And I say, "Sorry, what's this?" And he thought of the phrase mental residuals. And then he was just wondering, how does this sound in Spanish? So he Googled it. And he came up with this name. Once I heard it, I was completely taken with the idea. And the funny thing is that Stratos, after 1 hour or two, something like that, he called me back and he said, "Oh, I don't like it that much." And I told him, "No, that's the band. No more discussion." I truly love it. It's I don't know. It's very okay. Maybe not catchy exactly, but mental residuals. It's something that I see it. I don't know how people think of it. Something that has forever has stayed within you. Something that you have never completely get over. Something that has become a part of you. I don't know. I like it.
I like it too. I think it is catchy. It's a good name. But I was just curious.
There are not many Spanish names, and but maybe people even don't know how to pronounce it, or I don't know. But I love it. I can't think of any other name about us.
Fair enough. Final question: what is in the future for Residuos Mentales?
Right now, we have done the second session for recording album number 3, which are the rest of the songs which have remained in the bucket. It will fall somewhere in between introspection and bliss. There will be, let's say, best of both worlds. There will be some stuff that would have ended up in the introspection, and some other stuff would have worked well in bliss too. I don't know how much it will take. Once the brainstorming begins, maybe it will take 2 years, maybe 3. I don't know. I just know that when our conscience tells us, "Okay, guys, it's good, you can go on with it." So we are recording album number 3. Stratos goes on with Verbal Delirium. and hopefully it won't take 5 years again. Let's
Hope,
hope that 2 or 3 years it will be okay. Hmm.
hopefully. Yeah, I look forward to hearing from it. I'm curious already. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
We would really like to thank you for giving us the opportunity to, talk about our music and introduce ourselves to the alternative kind audience. It's truly an honor. We thank you so much, you and your listeners.